Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Yo to Bowl fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans, it all comes down to this. The Chargers at Patriots AFC Wild Card game. Ho! The pressure's here, man. First off, I can't believe the regular season's already over. That definitely flew by. But it was all leading up to this moment, man. The Chargers in their second year under Jim Harbaugh would make the postseason again. And it was a strategic move, man. I feel like the Chargers, they wanted all of the beef with the New England Patriots. There's a lot of history there. But statistically, I think there's also a good chance the Chargers position themselves to give themselves a shot in this one, man. I know the Patriots are the second seed. I know they're a very good team. They're not one to be taken lightly, but they're also that team we stomped the lights out of, what was it, 40-7 last year? They're not the same team. It's Mike Vrabel's New England Patriots. But it's still a team that the Chargers have to fight their way through if they want to advance in the postseason, get their first win for Justin Herbert in the postseason, and just show this league what we got, man. Imagine if we had our tackles. Imagine if this and that. But, you know, despite all of that, here we are, giving ourselves a good chance versus the number 2 seed Patriots. And it's going to be a good one, man. We have a lot to unpack in this video. We are sparing nothing in this one. This is a big one. We're going to go into detail, okay? So sit back, put your feet up, get excited. We're going to unpack this Chargers Patriots game preview and let you guys know what to expect. Before we do, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog. Use code DIRECTOR. And when you play just $5, you'll get 75 in bonus funds. It's a great way to support my platform while having some fun along the way. If you're looking for some picks, you're looking for some... I'm going pretty bold this week, though. That's all I'm going to say. You can copy, you can fade, whatever you want to do. I think the Chargers defense is going to be pretty important, so I'm pushing myself towards an experience that really pushes me to root for the Chargers, including the defense, which I almost never do. Tooley, we want the sack. Justin Herbert, I think you're going to need 2 touchdowns. Let's go ahead and push ourselves towards that. I got a straight-up win for the Chargers, too. It's not going to show it here. But then I had some free picks and stuff to use as well. If you're looking for a Patriot player to throw in there, I think the Chargers should do a lot better versus Hunter Henry than what the picks are saying he will. So let's go ahead and put him in there as a lower in receiving yards. With that being said, guys, if you do enjoy this content, hit us up with the like and sub. It definitely helps out my channel, gets us noticed on YouTube, and helps us grow, man. Thank you so much to everybody for helping us get to, what, just close to 60,000 at this point. Y'all are awesome. Let's bolt up, baby. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Your Chargers at Patriots wild card preview. Long intro, but a long video, okay? I think this is going to be an important one that we try and cover as much ground as possible and get ready for this matchup on Sunday that is going to be epic. Now, first off, we want to see who's playing, who's not playing. Fortunately, we do have some updated information via the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel Popper, who's going to give us some clarity here as to who's going to be squaring up against the Patriots on Sunday. We got ourselves a questionable Omarion, Hampton, Bud Dupree, Elijah Molden. So basically a lot of these big names, the only out people for sure are Keandre Lambert-Smith and Kendall Williamson, okay? But still a very, very important week to know who's in, who's out, what's going on with specific injuries. The biggest, I would say, good news that we have on this list, outside of Justin Herbert, who's going to be coming in with an extra week of rest, is Omarion Hampton, who you'll notice here did not practice Thursday or Wednesday. Again, it felt like a precaution for the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. Make sure that he gets as much rest as possible. But on Friday, he was seen practicing. He had a little, ankle wrap on, but man, dude, he still looks really good. He's going to be a big difference maker in this one. I have a whole segment just on Omarion Hampton, so we'll wait for that. But that is very, very good news to see that he more than likely is going to play. He was asked if he's suiting up on Sunday, and he said that was the plan, that he's going to play versus the Patriots, which is very, very good news. Okay? Outside of that, not practicing, Bud Dupree, he's also questionable. Keandre Lambert-Smith, he's going to be out. Williamson's going to be out. But everybody else, man, some big names on here to pay attention to. Jamari Sawyer with the hamstring, getting a full practice in. That's also pretty massive, okay? Getting that left tackle in there, be it our third or fourth left tackle, still getting the best one available is a very, very important aspect to this game, considering, again, we got some aspects of the Patriots defense that we're going to talk over, and their pass rush is one that's not been very impressive. So Jamari Sawyer being in there to kind of reaffirm that for us, the protection for Justin Herbert, is very, very, very important, okay? Keenan Allen practicing. Dante Jackson got a full practice in. This is also pretty important. He got a little banged up last week. He's one of our best corners on the field. He's a difference maker in turnovers. Good to see him back. But outside of that, it's looking really, really nice for the Chargers in terms of, a long laundry list of players, but you should see a lot of them available on Sunday. As for the Patriots, who got themselves just one specific player that's out this week, and that's Tonga, the defensive tackle. Everybody else getting full practices in outside of these last few guys. Harold Landry, linebackers questionable. Munford, the offensive tackle's questionable. Jared Wilson, unspecified. He's going through concussion protocol. Then Keyshawn Boutte. Trevion Henderson also, it says not injury related, but he missed practice on Friday. I guess that's kind of one to watch, but I would expect him to be suited up for this one. So all things considered, it looks to be a pretty evenly matched game. A lot of players that were maybe worried to be missing are going to be playing, and I think especially Omarion Hampton makes me especially optimistic for that. All right, let's jump into maybe the first talking point of this game that's got a lot of people sending me DMs and questions and comments on Insta and all social medias. What about the weather this game? Okay, and this was one that I did kind of glaze over in my shorts and stuff this week in that content because I didn't know how big of a factor it was going to play, but it could end up being a pretty big one. The Chargers do play Sunday night football, so it's going to be nice and dark and cold, and it's expected to dip into the 30s that game. So that is something to, take into, account when saying who's got the advantage. The Patriots are used to playing in the cold. The Chargers are, West Coast team. It could certainly come into factor there. But we also have to remember the Chargers have played cold weather games. In particular, this year we played a brutally cold game versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and we did pretty well there. I think that game was below the 20s, right? I think it was like 18 or 16 degrees or something like that. It was very, very cold. So the Chargers have shown that they are capable of winning football games in those environments. As a matter of fact, I think we held Mahomes and that offense to like 10 or 13 or some ridiculous low amount of points to win that game too. So the defense definitely thrives in that environment as well. I would say they overcome that environment as well. Now, as a reminder to everybody, because I am seeing a lot of Chargers fans panic at the thought of taking on the second seed in the AFC and the New England Patriots being this powerhouse offense, and their defense, I think, has been especially impressive versus the pass. But we have to remember, this was always the best case scenario for the Chargers going into the postseason. You guys remember this when we were, going through and watching how the postseason would shake out. We were kind of hoping for one scenario or the other, and it turned out to be maybe we play Jacksonville, maybe we play the Steelers or the Texans. I think in the end, we got the team that gives us the best chance at winning and progressing in the postseason. And it's because of a couple of different things. I think the biggest factor to take into account here is the Chargers' offensive line is our Achilles heel, right? If we lose this game and you're looking back and saying what happened, the offensive line may be the thing that pops up the most, which I'm still very worried about, to be clear on this. But the Patriots' pass rush is why this was a good matchup for the Chargers. They are one of the worst in football right now. I think they're ranked 30th since week 8. They're not generating a lot of pressure. They're not generating a lot of sacks. I think that could definitely change versus the Chargers. But, that versus what could have been the Texans' defensive line, or the Broncos even. I know the Jaguars are starting to get better, right? I mean, this was always maybe the path to the Chargers advancing in the postseason. It's not going to make it any easier, right? I don't think it's going to be an easy thing to accomplish, but I would much rather have to face a really, really good offense while Justin Herbert is still involved, right? If we were facing a poor offense and Justin Herbert was erased, and I think a good example of that was the Texans, right? Their offense is okay, right, the Texans, but their defense just kind of erased Justin Herbert. And it made it very difficult for us to come back in this one. You can say the same thing about the Broncos a little bit too. But keeping Justin Herbert relevant in the game was very, very important to me. So that's why I think New England was always the best chance and the best case scenario for us. And yes, they're on fire. Their offense looks great, but this gives us a chance to get Justin Herbert in there to make a difference. And the Chargers defense also is going to be a big reason why we win this game or lose this game. And so I think ultimately we do have a chance to progress in this one, which is very important. Now, speaking on Justin Herbert specifically, okay, there's a couple of key factors to this game that I think are going to give us any sort of edge and any sort of chance to walk away victorious. And obviously, Justin Herbert's going to be among the top. Okay, I think he is. I would say, like, it's crazy to think that he couldn't be the number one, but I do think the defense is the reason why we're going to win this game. So Justin Herbert, I think, is number 2 to me. And it's because, 1, he's going to be facing a very good passing defense of the Patriots, but 2, he needs to keep us in control. I think the name of the game this week, and the team that walks away victorious in this one, is going to be the team that was in control a majority amount of the game, all right, or the most in this game. And that's going to depend a lot on Justin Herbert's ability to move the football. Okay, it doesn't mean that he's got to be, Superman and go out there and make all the offensive plays and put up all the points. It could end up being that way for sure, but we need to maintain control and possession of the football. Now, yes, he has been banged up. There's been a worried, broken, left hand situation that we've been monitoring. Hopefully the rest week helped him. Last week he did not play versus the Broncos. Hopefully that's helped him catch up a little bit in his healing. But if you take a look at his last 3 games, man, he's been pretty great. Logging over 800 total yards and 6 touchdowns in just 3 games is wild. And yes, the rushing does get put into account there. I think he had somewhere over 100 yards in that span and a touchdown. He's awesome, all right? But again, we need him to stay awesome in this game because, again, staying in control is the big emphasis. Herbert's ability to convert on 3rd down is going to be massive this week. Look for Keenan Allen. Look for Ladd. Maybe Oronde has a nice bounce-back game. I think he looked okay last week, right? We have to make sure we stay as frequently as possible in possession of the football. Keep it away from Drake May. And then, obviously, you got to put up points, too. You got to keep your heads above water. You got to make sure, I'm going to say for Justin Herbert, you're going to need 200, 250 yards and a touchdown or 2 to win this game. But it's going to rely a lot on him. He's got to convert on 3rd down. He should help us keep the defense honest. Big play should still be on the table here, even versus the New England Patriots defense. But, it's very crucial that he helps convert on those situations and keep the possession on the Chargers side. Now, I would say the complement piece to that this week is going to be Omarion Hampton. And thank God he's playing, man. Excellent news. If you guys did not hear, out of practice this morning, he was seen practicing. Yes, he had a wrap on his ankle, but he says he does plan to play on Sunday, which is awesome. Okay, this is a massive deal because he's going to be a very important piece of this puzzle. We are very, very lucky to see Omarion return for this particular week because the Patriots, as great as their defense has been overall, because if you go take a look at their stats versus, you stack it up against the rest of the league, and especially in pass defense, as great as they have been, their run defense is actually kind of lacking. They've been giving up some pretty big numbers to teams over the last, I'll say, month. Now listen to these numbers. Last week they played Miami in kind of a throwaway game. I think Quinn Ewers was in there. Jalen Wright, I think, was their lead back. They allowed 68 rushing yards in that game. So it's, maybe nothing too crazy. But look at this, man. The New York Jets the week before, 164 yards on the ground. The Jets, and they lost by a bunch. The Ravens, 171 yards on the ground. Sure, yeah, they got, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and all that, but still 171 versus the Patriots defense. That was kind of shocking for me to see. And then finally the Bills, who handed them their last loss like 5-6 weeks ago, right? 246 yards on the ground. What? Yeah. If there is one weakness of the Patriots right now on defense, it is I'm going to say there's actually two right now. It's going to be versus the run. Yes, their pass rush is kind of poo-poo right now too. But man, run the football this week. And that plays hand in hand with what we were just talking about with Justin Herbert. Maintaining control is crucial. Converting third downs. Omarion can do that on short distances very, very well. That's what he was brought in this team to do. Justin Herbert can help us out of situations where it's like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, right? He's capable of running with it himself too, but finding the open man. Hampton's going to be a very big piece of a win on Sunday if the Chargers are to walk away victorious because of that idea of control. And the fact that Hampton, is being put in a situation where the Patriots has just been giving up a whole bunch of rushing yards over the last month. And I know Hampton can be a weird player for fans right now because he's missed so much time, but please trust me on this. I did a lot of research on this player. I was obsessed with the idea of drafting him. I couldn't believe that he ended up coming to us and the Chargers. When he's been on the field, he has been an absolute wrecking ball, right? Takes 2 or 3 defenders to take him down, generates consistent yards after contact. He's very well-rounded as a pass catcher, too. Sure, he's not been as good as I expected in pass protection. He was very good in that at UNC, but he'll improve. But the point of the Hampton, news being so huge here is that he should be the key player on offense outside of Justin Herbert. While maintaining control, moving the ball, he's awesome. Think about it this way. Despite missing half the season, he's logged 737 total yards and 5 scores. Think about that. If he played a full season, you're probably doubling those numbers. And if you're doubling those numbers, you're probably looking at Offensive Rookie of the Year. What would that be? Somewhere close to 1,500 yards and 10 scores? Yeah, I think that would do it. You take a look at that and you stack them up against Ashton Genty's numbers. Yeah, I think Hampton's very, very special. We just haven't gotten the proper time to see him out there on the field to get Chargers fans as obsessed as me yet. Control the football. Keep it away from May. Sneakily, I think the Chargers' first-round rookie running back could be the key to their first playoff win in the Harbaugh era. It's a massive deal. A massive deal. But the biggest reason you win or lose this game, folks, is going to be the defense. Rest of the video focused in on this unit, which has been absolutely awesome. And the game ultimately is going to ride on the shoulders of them. This has been an area the Chargers have been dominant this season. Honestly, I don't know if you guys have also heard, but Jesse Minter's been getting calls for head coaching positions. I think the Titans and the Browns. It's making me sweat a little bit. But it's because of what he was able to accomplish this season, even with so many injuries and the offense being lackluster. The Chargers are in it because of their defense this season. I don't think anybody's going to deny that. Herbert's great. The offense, they didn't have their tackles, so they were very dysfunctional, but the defense kept us in a majority of our games that we won. In particular, this last month has been insane for the defense. Despite resting most of our starters even last week, the Chargers only gave up 19 points to the first seed Broncos. Yeah? That was kind of shocking to me. I thought they were going to drop 30 on us. 19 points looks awesome. And I would say those 19 points they were lucky to get. There was a freebie touchdown in there, but there were also really bad positioning situations for the defense because of Trey Lance and the turnovers and all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. 19 points, very impressive versus the first seed Broncos. They've only allowed 20 points to 3 teams in their last 10 games. And I think they allowed, a couple of bigger games there, but their last loss versus Texans was just 20 points. I think the Titans also scored 20 points, but we did beat them. But there's been some big teams that we've been holding the fort down against, man. And this is very big versus the Patriots offense, which has been on fire. They've been scoring, 25, 30, 35 points a game. But some of these other offenses are very capable of that too, and the Chargers were able to hold it down. Here are some of the numbers here. We held Dallas to 17 points. Now, Dallas isn't a great football team, but their offense is awesome. I couldn't believe we held them to 17. I think they were scoreless in the second half. Kansas City, just 13 points in our last victory over them at Arrowhead. Philadelphia, we held to 19 points in an overtime win. Minnesota, I was at that game personally. 10 points. Defense was on fire. And again, these are some big boy offenses on the list, some big boy quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, still really, really good. Can the Patriots defense say the same thing? Have they been battle tested? I don't know, dude. I was looking through their schedule, and there was really only a couple of quarterbacks that stood out to me. I think Baker Mayfield, good. Lamar Jackson, he's great. He's a good quarterback. I don't know if he was in a funk that game, if he even played that game, right? There's been some injury concern there. I should have checked that. And then Josh Allen, who they split with this season. They lost one, they won one. They lost their most recent game, tragically, to the Bills. Okay. Chargers defense has seen some work this season. They've seen some genuine quarterback competition. The Patriots, I don't know, man. I don't think they won a single game versus a team that was over 500. Again, I'm not saying we can take them lightly. I'm not saying that, ooh, okay, this should be easy. No, not at all. But you got to put that into account at some point, right? Their schedule, this may be misinformation, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway because I saw it on social media. I thought it was hilarious. The Patriots' strength of schedule may have been one of the easiest since, was it the 80s or the 70s? According to something I saw on Twitter. Again, if somebody finds that stat, please let me know in the comment section. And I would believe it, given what I saw. You know, I studied a lot this week in terms of their opponents, and yeah. Looked like some of the good old Brady seasons where he's waltzing through the AFC East, and then they throw him a bunch of easy opponents on top of that. I don't know. It is what it is. Chargers defense, though, has seen some pretty good competition, and they've been very good despite that. The defensive line is also going to be a very important aspect of the team this week. And again, it kind of all starts here for me. You got to hold down the fort versus Stevenson and Travion Henderson. Those guys can be a force together. They can control games together. I think I've seen them put up 200-plus yards in a game and just really never let go of control. And again, we're in a game where the theme is control. The name of the game is control. You cannot let the Patriots run it down your throat. And this is something Chargers fans have been worried about for years. Our run defense has not been good. But what's kind of strange to me, and again, in doing research for this game, the Chargers' run defense has been surprisingly decent this last month. Matter of fact, this year, they've bounced back pretty great. What's crazy is that, again, yeah, they started off the year, I would say, below average, right? They didn't end great. Or I should say they didn't start great, but they did end very strong in January, ranking 8th with just 105 rushing yards allowed per game. 8th? That kind of shocked me. I'm not going to lie. I was like, the Chargers ended 8th? I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have guessed, maybe 18, 16, but 8th is very, very good. Which is kind of crazy because you guys remember what we're talking about with Omarion and Hampton? The Patriots' run defense is not good right now. It could change in this game. Anything could change in this game, obviously. It's a playoff game. But if the Chargers have the edge on running the football, okay, all right, I'm starting to see the vision here. I'm starting to see the vision of the upset. That's especially exciting. But they could just as easily have a good game versus us. So the defensive line has to hold it down. We need Tierra Tart. We need Jamari Caldwell, who's been amazing this season. Sneakily, Tito Ogbonia, who's been back. He's been pretty good versus the run. We have to keep ourselves in control. Hold the Pats' run game. That's a vital, vital aspect to this. And make Drake May throw the football. I know that's also scary, but you got to start somewhere. Hold down that line. Speaking of the line, pressure is also a big reason why we lose or win this game. We got to get at Drake May this week, dude. Drake May's been great. He's an MVP candidate. It kind of makes me upset how much talk he's getting for MVP considering his schedule and how much lack of attention Justin Herbert's getting despite carrying this entire offense on his shoulders with a broken hand. But it is what it is. Drake May has been great, though. Only 8 picks this season. He's been very efficient. There's no doubting that he's going to be something special for the Patriots. But the Chargers' pressure, their pass rush, could change that at least a little bit this week, right? The Chargers' pass rush has been relentless, especially over the last month. 10 sacks over the last 4 games. The pressure has been consistent, vicious, violent. And the sack numbers, yes, are great. Thule's been awesome. Owe has been an awesome trade. Khalil Mack has been very consistent. But it's our pressure rate that is especially impressive. It nears the top of the league right now. I think around 37%. Holy crap. Mack, Thule, and Owe on specific plays are around 52%, which is absolutely bonkers. Chargers pass rush is awesome. And this is something that when Jesse Minter was hired on to the Chargers, I expected to be a pretty big aspect of this team. Like that defense is going to thrive when you've got good pass rushers. And this is why the Chargers have been doubling down on the position the last 2 years. You know, you've got Thule and Mack and Bosa last year, which was a risky, keep. They kept him because it was very important. They went and signed Bud Dupree. Now they went and traded for Odafe Owe. They want a consistent rotation of relentless pass rushers, and they've got it. They look great. And this is where opportunity is born. Bring May back down to earth. Good things happen for your Chargers deep. I don't know, man. Really do think that they could affect every level of the defense. I think Drake May could have a different football game than he's experienced this season with that kind of pressure in his face. And the Patriots pass protection isn't that great either. I'm not going to say they're as bad as the Chargers. I don't think anyone historically has been as bad as the Chargers. Maybe that's where the stat was, by the way. I think the Chargers had the worst line since the 70s. I think that's what I was thinking of. But the Patriots also have had a crazy easy schedule. So try not to roast me too bad in the comment section. Got those mixed up. But the pass rush could really make a huge difference here. And it could honestly result in turnovers. Turnovers could result directly from the efforts of our pass rushers. Yes, forced fumbles and stuff like that are possible there, but just the constant heat, the less time to throw, the mistakes generated by Drake May, these are all opportunities for the Chargers to snag that extra possession, which leads me to one of my final points here, the secondary. Secondary has kind of been the icing on the cake, maybe even the calling card of the Chargers defense this year, maybe even last year too. They've been amazing, led by Derwin James and a ragtag group of defenders or DBs that I don't think anybody saw coming, right? Who would have thought that Elijah Molden and rookie RJ Mickens and out of retirement Tony Jefferson and Dante Jackson, the free agent, and the 2 fifth-round rookies in last season and Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still. Who would have thought that this unit would be so dominant? That's the direct result of Jesse Minter. And they kind of remind me of the Thunderbolts. You guys watched that movie, the Marvel movie, the Thunderbolts? They're kind of this ragtag group of superheroes that you think that, they're trying to be the Avengers or this and that, and they don't really fit together well, but something makes the glue work and makes the unit happen. And they are the Thunderbolts to me, man. And how appropriate is that for the Chargers? They made it work with this ragtag group of superheroes. They are one of the best pass defenses in all of football. How awesome is that? And they've squared up against some of the best quarterbacks in football. Like I mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, very efficient. Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud. Some would say Bo Nix, I guess, if I had to put him in there. And in those games, man, points allowed. Denver, last week, again, with the starters sitting, 19. Houston, 20. Dallas, just 17. Kansas City, 13. Philadelphia, 19. Secondary has just been so good this year, dude. You guys have been locked down. But maybe what's even more impressive is that they're taking the football away. 19 interceptions this year is tied third in the league. This is one of the better, takeaway seasons that I can remember in a long time. And it doesn't matter who you are. We have faced quarterbacks, yes, like Geno Smith. We've picked him off 4 times this year. Poor guy. But everybody kind of expects that out of him, right? But then there's guys like Aaron Rodgers, who plays super clean this year. I think he had 7 interceptions total. We got 2 of those. There's Jalen Hurts, who threw a total of 6 interceptions this year. Very good season for him in that department. We account for 4 of those interceptions. 4 of his 6 were as a result of the Chargers secondary. So my point here is Drake May, who's been playing very clean football, very good football this season, is going to face, in my opinion, the best defense that they're going to see this season. They have not faced a defense as good as the Chargers this year. The secondary is going to put in some work, and I think, especially if the pass rush can get involved the way we're hoping, you're going to see some opportunities for the Chargers to, again, bring Drake May back down to earth a little bit and hopefully force a mistake or two. If we can do it versus Jalen Hurts, we can do it versus Drake May. But to bring it all home, my point here, control remains the number one clear path to victory this game. We talked about Justin Herbert converting on third downs. We talked about Omarion and Hampton sustaining drives. We talked about the pass rush and the defense not allowing rushing yards to the Patriots. But I think maybe one of the most impactful things that can happen, an extra possession or two via the secondary, that could decide the game. The Chargers are coming into this week the underdogs. And I understand that. Everywhere I've looked, nobody's picking the Chargers. The Patriots have had an awesome season. They have a 14-win team. Drake May looks to be one of the best quarterbacks in football. Their pass defense is insane. But I'm here to tell you, Chargers fans, we stand a much better chance than people are giving us credit for. This defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. I don't care who you are. Justin Herbert is an MVP caliber quarterback. I don't care who says otherwise. The one thing holding us back right now is our offensive line. And lucky enough, we're facing maybe the worst pass rush in the postseason that you can find. And that will keep Justin Herbert involved. Will give us a chance to stay in control whenever possible. And then we can kind of, lay back and see what happens with the defense shouldering a lot of our chances this week, which I feel very confident in for the first time in a long time as a Chargers fan. This defense is for real. And I have a lot of faith in this team. I'm trying not to get emotional here because this could be, the last game preview that I put out on this channel, but something tells me that there's hope. There's hope that we could find our first win. There's hope that we can advance. And I think that we did a pretty good job at showing you guys all the reasons why I do have some confidence in this week. I don't have all the confidence. Obviously, this is going to be a brawl this week. But I think we are up to it. I think Herbert's up to it. I think the defense is up to it. I think Jim Harbaugh's up to it. Let's show up. Let's be loud. Let's be hopeful. Let's be optimistic. Let's have some fun, Bolt fam. It's been a crazy, weird season for the Chargers, but despite everything, here we are. It all comes down to this on Sunday. My score prediction, Chargers 26 to the Patriots 23. Razor thin score at the end. Maybe a lot of heart attacks along the way, but I do have faith that Justin Herbert and the Chargers can find a way to win this one. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been the Director. Extra long episode this week, but hey, it's the playoffs. We want to know every in and out of this game before Sunday. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been the Director. Make sure to get in on Underdog. This may be your last chance this season to ride with the Chargers. I don't think it will be, but let's not miss a game if we don't have to. And have some fun with it, man. I always regret not playing more. The offseason, I'm like, man, I don't know how good I had it. But yeah, I'm very excited, man. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been the Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Bolt up, Bolt fam. For real this time is where it all counts. All the marbles.